Our next comedian, ladies and gentlemen, has been at Riddle's open mics and across the Chicagoland area as well, doing open mics. Clap your hands together. Give it up for Mr. Jim Katula, everybody. Jim Katula.
Okay. Thank you. That sure beats the introduction I had last week. Over at that other place. So, I had a job interview today for a new job. Woo! As opposed to a job interview for an old job. Anybody ever have a job interview for an old job? Yeah, well, had a job interview for a new job, and they asked me why I left my old job. I said, well, it's that relocation thing. Yeah, the company relocated, and they didn't tell me where. But I've had lots of jobs in my life. I've worked nights at a 7-Eleven, sold beer at the zoo. Some of you may not even know you could buy beer at the zoo, but you can. And it's really cheap. So I sold beer at the zoo. I'm a teacher. I've helped out at an animal shelter. And I'll never forget it, one day at work, I got bit. Yeah, it's true, I got bit at work. I can't believe that bitch bit me just because I wouldn't sell her a pack of cigarettes. But if I could have any job in the world, I don't know about you guys, but I want to be a TV weatherman. Isn't that a good job? Think about it. You could be wrong 80% of the time and still have a job tomorrow. Think about it now. Hello, this is your captain speaking. We have just been cleared for landing at Anchorage International Airport. We regret this error in calculation as our original destination was, in fact, Honolulu. However, you will be happy to know that your luggage has arrived safely in Honolulu. But even with this slight miscalculation on my part, I still perform better than the national average of 70% for pilots with my age and experience level. Thank you for flying. Another job I'd like to have, you know. I was driving to work today, and I get off the expressway. Anybody else do this? They get off the expressway, you drive up that little hill up to the overpass, and there's always this guy, well, sometimes there's this guy standing there, and he's holding this sign. And what does the sign say, you know? It says, help, homeless. Okay, so why is it that he's never there when it's raining, snowing, cold? So I figured it out. Those are the days that he's at home watching ESPN Sports Center on TV. He's a part-time homeless guy. He can only work 20 hours a week because if he works any more, then the city has to give him benefits. I was driving down the expressway on my way home from Kentucky last week from a business trip. And there's this big billboard on the side of the road, right? And the sign says, it's for a vasectomy clinic. But it's not just any vasectomy clinic. This is my pee joke, but it's not really a pee joke. It's a sign for a vasectomy clinic. And the sign says, get one side clipped, the other side's free. So that got me thinking, man, could you imagine having that conversation with your wife? Honey, I just took the pregnancy test and I'm pregnant. Whatever happened to that vasectomy that you were supposed to have last month? Well, you know, we were a little short on money. I couldn't really afford to get the other side clipped, you know? Think about it. Another great job to have, driving down the expressway. You're going 80 miles an hour, right? Down the Dan Ryan heading into downtown. All of a sudden you have to hit on the brakes because traffic has slowed to 55 miles an hour. Why do you slow to 55 miles an hour? Anybody know? Why are you slowing down to 55?
Speed limit.
And what's up in front of that pack of cars? A state trooper, right? So that got me thinking, you ever think state trooper just messes with people to see how slow he can get them to go on the expressway? He'll be driving down the expressway in the left-hand lane and he'll be going like 35 and nobody will go by him. So he'll slow down and go 30, still nobody going by 25. How slow do you think he could go? So I had a great idea. I'm gonna buy a NASCAR and I'm gonna paint it to look like a state police car. and buy one of those funky looking hats to hang on the seat next to me, nobody will ever pass me. I'll win every race. You know, people aren't exactly smart all the time, right? We know this. People can do some stupid things. It turns out that the preserved heart of St. Lawrence O'Toole was recently stolen from a church in Ireland. No joke, it was recently stolen. But my question is, why are we preserving the heart of St. Lawrence O'Toole? And, well, who would want it now? Yeah, people are stupid. People are really stupid, right? Some tourists in Australia actually made it illegal in Australia for rental cars to have GPS systems in them now. Because about 2 months ago, 3 Japanese college students were driving in Australia in a rental car on vacation. And they punched in their destination in their GPS, and they're driving and they're following the directions exactly that the GPS has given them. And that would have been fine, except the GPS told them to drive into the ocean. Now, what kind of idiot drives their car into the ocean? And this is a Japanese college student, right? And don't we want our educational system to mirror what's going on in Japan? Really? You know, and the other thing that gets me about college, I'm a college grad, spent a lot of time in college, a lot of time. Mostly not in college really, but around the college town, you know. But they do studies, and they do all these studies about these crazy things. You know, they just released a study that people that eat chocolate occasionally are slimmer than those that eat chocolate a few times a week. We need a study to tell us this? The fact is, all you gotta do is look at me. Now see, my problem is, I just eat chocolate all the time. You know? So I was buying new pants yesterday. I went into one of those stores that has sales all the time. You probably know it. Kohl's. Woo! Everything's on sale all the time, right? And so I'm at the store, right, looking for pants because I need some new pants to wear. I ended up not buying them, but they had this rack of pants there, and they had them in my size, which is not a small size. Okay, I'll be honest, it's not a small size. And I'm looking at them, and I hold them up, and these aren't going to fit me. And I look at the tag again. They're slim fit jeans. Now, who the hell wants to see me wearing a pair of slim fit jeans? Get real. The only thing that kept me from buying them is the fact that I couldn't even get them up over my calves. I tried them on. True story, by the way. So, anybody know who Lenny Dykstra is? Woo! Lenny Dykstra is a former baseball player, played for the New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies, and I don't know if he played for anybody else. Probably at some point he did. But he was recently sentenced to 3 years in prison. Turns out that when he couldn't steal bases anymore, he started stealing cars. Unfortunately for Mr. Dykstra, he wasn't any better at stealing cars.